Hi everyone, Lee here from Lee's Life Lessons, where I teach you how to become your best self and live your best life. If this content interests you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay, today I want to talk about how to be successful as a single mom. But before I get into that, don't mind the way I look right now. I slept about 3 hours last night, and I want to share with you what my 16-year-old son did last night. So my son and I had an altercation yesterday morning over an issue that's been ongoing for a while now. And I ended up telling him to leave, and I didn't want him to come back. I didn't do this because I want my son to leave and I don't want him to come back at all. I'm trying to teach him a lesson that, life is not easy out there and that he has it made here with me. But anyway, that's irrelevant. I ended up taking him back last night because we talked. He talked to his brother and we worked things out, and I thought, okay, I can't leave my son out there. So I let him come home last night. When he came home, it felt off. He was affectionate with me, and he had a shower at 12:30 last night, and I just felt like something was off, something was going on. Anyway, I went to bed. 2:30 in the morning, something woke me up. I don't know what. I just woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and I decided to go check to see what he was doing. So I went to the front door and I noticed that his boots were gone. And then I looked where the keys are hung and noticed that his key was there, but my car keys were missing. So I looked out the window, and lo and behold, my Jeep was not in the yard. My kid does not have his driver's license. He has his G1 or G2 or whatever it is, the one that you just write a test for and you can just drive. Anyway, he just got this license like not even a month ago. He's driven like 3-4 times maximum. But he thinks it's okay to take my Jeep in the middle of the night and go joyriding with it? When I discovered this, I picked up the phone and I called him, and he did not answer. I was livid by this time. He calls me right back, and I know at this point he's shitting in his pants because he didn't think that I was going to wake up. He calls me back, and I didn't even give him a chance to speak. I said, "Get your ass home now." Hung up the phone, and I decided, how am I going to deal with this? I didn't want him to think he could just get away with something like that, because as a mom, especially a single mom, it's easy for kids to get away with things. A lot of moms have that single mom guilt, and they don't get on top of these things with their kids. And, I have an older son who also did things growing up. And I dealt with them in a way that I think every mom should deal with. So what I did last night at 2:30 in the morning is I called the police. I told them that my Jeep was missing and that my 16-year-old was missing as well. And that clearly he took my Jeep and that he did not have permission, nor did he have a license. So my son came home, and not even 5 minutes later, the police arrived. And I could have pressed charges against him, which, obviously I don't want to do because I don't want my son to have a criminal record because he did something stupid. But this is one of the things that I have to deal with as a single mom, and his father's not here, so I'm dealing with this on my own. So I didn't get any sleep last night. I'm so tired. However, it is what it is. I just wanted to share that with you. But in this video, I want to talk about things that you can do as a single mom that are going to increase the chances of your kids being successful in life, and also how to help you feel more confident being a single mom. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to go freshen up and I'll be back to discuss that. Okay, this is my version of cleaning up today. And this coffee, much needed this morning. Black, 2 sugar. Yum. And guess who's sleeping right now and will probably sleep all day? Yep, my teenager. Okay, how to be successful as a single mom. I would first like to applaud all you single moms out there. You are rocking it and you are kicking ass every day. I know just how hard it is to be a single mom. I know that you lock yourself in the bathroom sometimes for just a little bit longer because you feel so overwhelmed. I know that you cry yourself to sleep at night sometimes because you feel like you're not a good mom and you're getting it all wrong. I know that you feel angry and resentful because the father is not there. He abandoned your child and left you to do everything. I also know that you are tired. You're so tired that sometimes you can't get off the couch. Sometimes you spend the whole day binge watching Netflix and you order takeout for dinner, or you give your kids cereal for dinner. That's okay. I've done it. I also know how rewarding it is. I know that you love your child and you put your child's needs before anyone else. I know that you are so proud of your child or children. I know that you feel invincible because you are doing this. You are raising your kids by yourself. So I applaud all of you. Statistics show that children raised by one parent, mostly single moms, will not be as successful as children raised by two parents. So a lot of the statistics show that kids raised by one parent get into trouble more. They break the law. They don't finish high school. They don't go to college. And they just overall don't do as well as kids who are raised by two parents. Those statistics were shoved down my throat when my kids were young. And I remember hearing them and feeling like my kids are not going to be part of those statistics. I'm not going to allow that to happen. And I was scared. It actually scared me hearing these statistics because no mom wants to think about that. They want their kids to grow, be happy, be successful. So I'm here today to tell you that your child or children do not have to be part of those statistics. I have a 24-year-old son who was a handful growing up. He kept me on my toes, let me tell you. His father was never in his life. I never received any child support for him. I raised him completely on my own. I received a lot of help from my parents, thankfully. My parents had a very close relationship with him. He was the first grandchild in the family. And because he didn't have a father, my dad stepped up and kind of took on that role as much as he could, grandpa/dad. However, I moved away from them. We lived 4 hours away from each other. So, I was a single mom. My son struggled most of his life. I'm a very strong-minded, stubborn, independent person. I can be a little bit difficult. I struggle with authority. I always have. And both of my sons have been blessed with the same qualities. So my oldest son, he was a handful growing up. I am proud to say that he is now 24 years old and he is doing so well. He's successful. He joined the military 4 years ago and has just been thriving since. When I watched him graduate from basic training, I can't even explain the feeling that overcame me. I was so proud of him. I was overwhelmed with emotion. And all I could think about in that moment was, I did this by myself. His father had nothing to do with the man that my son had become. And I felt so proud of myself for that. My son could have been one of those statistics. My son could have, his father is an alcoholic and a drug addict. He's never held a job. He's a loser. My son could have been like that. He could have turned out like that, but I didn't let him. the way that I raised him prevented him from going there. And you can do the same thing. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about how you can do that. I want to take a minute to show you this video that I took at my son's graduation from basic training. And I want you to put yourself in my shoes and feel the emotion that I was feeling when I was watching this video. Words cannot express how exactly I was feeling. So here's that video. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you some tips on how to be the best kick-ass single mom you could be. The first thing is lead by example. How can you raise successful children if you yourself are not doing anything to help yourself? I see this often, you know, mothers who are drinking all the time, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, hanging out with their friends and partying on Friday night. They're just not being the best version of themselves. When you're acting like that, your kids are it doesn't matter what you say, your kids are going to watch you and they're going to learn from you and they're going to mirror what you're doing. I mean, it's natural for kids to do that. So, lead by example. As a mom, when I was younger, I smoked weed. I didn't drink very often, but I smoked weed on a regular basis. I smoked cigarettes. I dated men, and like men were coming in and out of my kid's life, and I moved around a lot, and I did all of those things when my kids were really young. That's not leading by example. That's dragging your kids along through your disaster. So I highly recommend not doing that. I got my act together, and even though I was doing those things, I was always a responsible mother. I was there for my kids. They were number one. I didn't party and leave my kids with babysitters. I took care of my kids all the time. And I think that that's important. I quit smoking. I quit doing drugs. I did all of those things and my kids watched me do that. So once my kids were old enough to actually, start to grow into themselves and become young adults, they had a version of me that was a lot more respectable and that they could follow my lead. Number 2, teach your children to be kind to others. And again, lead by example. I see children bullying other children at school and on the streets. It's really sickening sometimes, some of the things that's happening out there. And honestly, a lot of that comes from the parents. I've seen those parents who are cutting down other people, making fun of people. I've had children back in the day come up to me and tell me that I'm a fat cow, and because they're hearing that from their parents. They start saying racist comments to people. They're hearing that from their parents. So teach your children to be kind to others. It's so important. Teach them manners. My boys have never bullied anyone growing up. They've always treated people, their peers, with kindness. My boys were the type of children who would help someone who was getting bullied, who would stand up for someone who needed to be stood up for. I'm proud of them for that, but I raised them that way. I don't treat people like that, and I don't want my children to treat people like that. My son, my 16-year-old, at a very young age, if we're out in public, holds doors for people. If he sees a lady, an older lady or an older gentleman walking and they're carrying a lot of groceries, he will allow them to go in front of him. He will open the door for them. Teach your children that. It's so important for them to know how to treat other people. Number 3, take care of yourself. If you are not taking care of yourself, you cannot take care of your children. Make sure you get enough sleep, eat healthy, exercise, take care of your mind, make sure that you are strong and healthy so that you can be there for your children. Take a day off when you need it. If you work full time and you feel stressed out and tired, take some time off. Take some time to relax, unwind. If you have to take a little vacation away from your children, do that. It's so important. I have always taken care of myself. I've never been one of these people who is hardcore. I gotta go to work. I can't miss a day of work. I don't understand why people develop this mentality. And they'll talk to you about that, like, I never missed a day of work. Good for you. I do miss work and I'm okay with that. I need that. You need a mental health day sometimes. You need to take care of yourself, and we all need a break, especially when you're a single mom. You need that time. So take care of yourself. Have a hot bath. Drink some wine on Friday night by yourself. Do what you need to keep yourself strong, healthy, and happy. Number 4, be involved. Be nosy. Pay attention. This goes without saying. A lot of parents are afraid to do this, especially when your kids become preteens and teens. Don't be scared to take their phone and go through it. Don't be scared to ask them where they're going, who they're hanging out with. Always, always pay attention to what your children are doing. So many parents don't do that. They let their kids do whatever they want. They give them all kinds of privacy. And you know what? Your kids need you to be nosy. They pretend like they don't like that. Like they don't want you involved, and they pretend like they're angry about this. But I'm telling you, they want you to do that, and they need you to do that. I want to share something with you that happened to my son when he was 13. I went through his phone regularly. It's something that I told him. I pay for your phone. You have a phone. I'm going to go through it whenever I want to. So just be warned. So one day I decided to go through his phone. I asked him for his phone and I went through it. And I started reading messages from a teenage girl who was 17. He was 13 at the time, on Instagram. So I started reading this conversation and realized that this 17-year-old girl was talking about sex with him, trying to get him to send naked photos of himself, just talking about really inappropriate things with him. And as I was reading this conversation and I went and looked at this person's Instagram account, something wasn't sitting right with me. To me, it did not seem like this was an actual 17-year-old girl. I felt like this was probably a pedophile. I didn't do anything at first. I asked my son about this conversation and he told me, about it. I mean, I read it and he didn't send any photos or anything like that. So I sat on it for the day. And then the next day I thought, you know what? No, I need to report this. So I called the police. Someone came here, an investigator came here and interviewed us. And anyway, long story short, I don't want to go into all the details. We discovered that this was in fact a 48-year-old man who was a known pedophile. He lives in the US. He does not live here in Canada, but he was doing this to multiple boys. So the police ended up finding this person because of what I did. Because I spoke up and because I was nosy and paid attention to what my kid was doing, we caught this guy. We stopped him from continuing to do this. This guy is now serving 20 years in a penitentiary because of what we did. You need to pay attention to what your kids are doing, because if you don't, something like that could happen to your child and you won't even know about it. So I'm a big, big advocate of be nosy. Be nosy. You can't be too nosy when it comes to your children. You can still give them privacy. I'm not saying don't give your kids privacy, but you have to also be nosy. You have to look out for your children. And you need to talk to them about these things as well. Definitely talk to your kids about how people, and I did. Thankfully, my son and I had this conversation many times about, online stuff and sending photos and pedophiles and all that stuff. So definitely keep talking to your kids about things like that. Educate them about these things. Number 5, use tough love. You must do this as a mom. It's probably one of the hardest things that you're going to do, but it is imperative. I know that being a single mom, you have that soft side, you want to protect them, but you need to use tough love. Your kids need to learn that they can't just do whatever they want, that they need to be held accountable for things. I have used tough love multiple times on both of my children. And again, they retaliate against that. They act like they don't like this tough love. They don't want you to do that. But I am telling you, they need you to do that. They need you to do that. Kids are going to naturally rebel against things like that because it's just in their nature to do that. However, inside, they need you and they desperately want you to do that. Oh, and here comes my teenager now. What are you doing? Oh, he's got the teenage guilt today. Oh, yes, he does. It's going to be an interesting weekend. And I gave him tough love last night, let me tell you. Okay, number 6, ask for help. Use the resources that are available in your community. Ask your family and your friends for help. I can't stress this enough. I'm very independent and I have a hard time asking for help. However, when I feel like I don't know what to do, I need some support, I reach out to people for that support, whether that be a counselor for your child if your child is suffering with any issues. Like my youngest son has that anxiety, he deals with that, and so I had connected him with a counselor. I had tests done for him, and that in itself is super helpful. Also, any community supports that there are, parenting courses, any groups that there are, like parenting groups that can support you. They have a hub program here in North Bay where the police can help you out with the school, and always look for people to help you. If you need a break, reach out to your parents and ask if they can watch your kids for an evening. Don't feel guilty about that. You need a break sometimes. So even though you feel like you don't want to reach out for help, it's super important to do that. And it also shows your children that it's not just you. There's a community, and there's like a group of people that are there to support them. So it takes a village. It really, truly takes a village. I think that people have forgotten that these days, but it takes a village to raise a child, and you need to show your children that as well. Number 7, hold your kids accountable. I know this is difficult. It's one of the most difficult things to do as a single mom, or just as a mom in general. I can't stress enough how important it is to hold your kids accountable. If you don't, they will go through life thinking they can do whatever they want without any consequences. And how is that going to turn out for them as adults? It's not going to be good. You must hold your kids accountable. My oldest son, when he was a teenager, got into a little bit of trouble. He lost his way a little bit. We were poor when he was growing up, so he didn't have a lot of things. So him and a friend decided that it was okay to steal something. And he got caught stealing a jacket from a store here. And of course, the police called me while I was at a hockey game, my other son's hockey game, to tell me they had my son and that they were going to bring him to me and that he had just stolen something. And anyway, that's one of the things that he did. He also got involved in some other stuff. He was stealing a little bit from a company. I don't really want to get into any detail. However, how I dealt with that, when I discovered that he was stealing, I took him to the police station and I told them that my son stole this money and he needs to be held accountable for this. Now, shockingly enough, the police didn't do anything. They told me that he's a minor and there's really nothing they can do. I was shocked. Here I am, a single mom who's struggling with a 16-year-old who's, trying to go down the wrong path, and I'm trying to teach him that he can't do things like this, and they sent me away and told me that there's nothing they can do. I was shocked. Anyway, so I took it into my own hands, and I called the owner of this company that he stole from, and I told her what he had done, that I had found this money in his room and that he had stolen this money from her. And I took him to her, and I made him give her the money and made him apologize to her. And that was holding him accountable. It was super difficult to do that. As a mom, you don't want your children to feel sad, to feel bad about themselves. You don't really want them to go through things like that. You always want to protect them. I also did the same thing last night with my son. I held him accountable, and I will get into that at the end of this video as well. So you must do this as a mom. As difficult as it is, do it. Hold your kids accountable. They need that. They need to know that there are consequences for their actions. Number 8, get rid of that single mom guilt. I know it's there. I know you feel guilty. I've done it, and I know a lot of moms do it. They do the, oh, well, his dad's not here and he already has so much going on. I don't want to make him feel any worse, so I'm going to be a little bit easier on him. Don't do that. You're not benefiting your child by doing that. You're doing the best that you can. You cannot control what his father did. So get rid of that single mom guilt. You're doing the best that you can. Continue to do the best that you can. Your child knows that. They know that you are doing the best that you can. So no reason for that guilt. It's not helping you, and it's not helping your child. Number 9, be their biggest cheerleader. Your kid needs you to be their biggest cheerleader in life. So important for you to always cheer them on. I'm not saying cheer them on when they're being an asshole or when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Trust me, I do not do that. I am that mom who kicks ass when my kid is not behaving the way he's supposed to. But cheer them on. And that also includes, getting them involved in sports or activities that they enjoy. So important, especially when you are a single mom and you work full time and you're busy. You need to have your kids involved in something. When kids are busy, they stay out of trouble. When you have your kids involved in a sport with a team and that they feel good about and they feel a part of, they're less likely to do things to get themselves in trouble. My oldest son played basketball growing up. He also tried things like baseball. He tried soccer. He did karate. I always had him involved in something so that he was busy and he also felt part of something. And also when you do stuff like that, you can lean on the coach as well to be a good influence on your son. For those who don't have a father around, it's nice to have that male figure that they can look up to, and that you could even, I've reached out to, my son's karate coach and my son's hockey coach, and I've, hey, I'm having a hard time with this with my son. Do you think you can talk to him? And they're always usually willing to do that. So that's something that, can also benefit you. My youngest son played hockey his whole life. He also played soccer, and he as well plays basketball. And I know that being a single mom, it's hard financially. I get that. I struggle financially. However, there are a lot of programs out there to help you. They have Kids Sport you can reach out to. I'm sure there's lots of things that you can reach out to in your community to help you pay for sports or activities that you want to put your children in. And you know what? Just save a little bit of money. $10 here and there for your child and get them involved in something. It's super, super good for them. And also be their biggest cheerleader for that. Go to all their games as much as you can. If you have to work, you have to work, but show up to their practices, be there, support them, ask them about it, get involved. I have managed my son's hockey team. I have coached my other son's, soccer team when he was young, and baseball as well. So definitely get involved. So, so, so good for you and your child. Number 10, pray. I know that sounds silly. I've started incorporating this into my life. It's been a little while now, and it makes a huge difference. You have to believe that there is something greater than you out there looking out for you, wants the best for you, and loves you unconditionally. You need to reach out to that sometimes. If you are lost and you don't know what to do next, if your child is struggling with something and you don't know how to handle it, pray. I'm not a religious person. I don't go to church. I don't follow any specific religion. However, I do believe that there is something out there, and I pray. I get down on my knees sometimes and pray for help. I ask for help. If I need answers to something, I ask, and I usually get my answer. I highly recommend that you connect with that spiritual part of you and use it. It's someone else or something else that will be on your side. So when you're feeling like you just don't know where to turn to, pray. Really try it. Pray. And the final one, number 11, go easy on yourself. We're all human. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. I have made countless mistakes as a mom. I can't even tell you how many times I screamed at my boys. I swore at my boys. I have slammed doors. I have thrown things. I have done so many things that you really shouldn't do. However, I'm human. I lose my shit sometimes. We all are losing our shit sometimes. It's not easy being a mom, let alone a single mom. Just think about it. You are working, you're taking care of your kids, you're doing everything. You have to worry about finances, you have to worry about feeding them, you have to worry about cleaning your house, you have to worry about absolutely everything. You don't have a partner to take some of those responsibilities and split it with you. You're doing everything on your own. So you're gonna lose your shit. Or you're not gonna do things right. Or you're gonna be too tired for this today. Or you're gonna let your kid get away with something just because you just don't wanna deal with it. It's okay. It's okay. It's not gonna scar anybody for life. You're allowed to fall apart. So many parents feel like they shouldn't show their children that they have emotions, that they break down, that they're sad. No, you need to show that to your children. They need to see and to know that you're human. They will learn from you when you're like that. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable in front of my children. And when you make mistakes as a mom, apologize for them. Talk to your children. You know, when I do something that was not okay, and I know it was not okay, I talk to my kid later and I tell him, listen, what I did wasn't okay. I was mad. I was out of control, and I really shouldn't have done that, and I'm sorry. You need to communicate with your children. That way, they know that it's not them, that it's you. You're taking accountability. I lost my shit. I shouldn't have done this. I am sorry. There's no reason for you to feel guilty. You dealt with it. We're moving on. I will not do it again. That is what you need to do. You apologize and you don't repeat it. So go easy on yourself. Love yourself. You will be okay. Your kids love you no matter what. They might be angry with you at times, but they love you. And teenagers, let me tell you, they are a special breed. I'm going to make a video, I think, specifically on teenagers and how to parent them in the near future, because I've done this for the second time now, and let me tell you, it is not easy. Those of you who have young children who think it's difficult, wait to see what's coming your way. I don't want to scare you, but hey, yeah, this gray hair, yeah, teenagers. All right, I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. The coffee's getting cold. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it helps you. And I would really appreciate if you share this with other mothers. If they can benefit from this, this is why I make these videos. Honestly, my channel, the purpose of it is really to empower women to be their best selves. I don't just say that to say that, I really mean that. My purpose right now in life is to take my life experience, my education, my skills, put it out there and teach other women how to better themselves and better their lives, and to make their lives a little bit easier. I feel like a lot of people need that. I needed that. 10, 15 years ago, I was lost and I didn't know what I was doing. And I would have appreciated someone to guide me through that. And I'm doing this with my best intentions. So feel free to share this with other people. You can comment below, anything that you want to say about this topic, or if you would like me to talk about something else, anything, leave some comments below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel so you can get more of my videos. So as I promised at the beginning of this video, I wanted to share a little bit more about what happened with my son in the middle of the night last night when he decided to take my Jeep for a joyride. I called the police. The police came. The police officer talked to him. She was here for a good half hour talking to him about, how I can charge him, all the consequences of doing something like that, what could come out of this, how the charges would impact his life, all of those things. She also let me know about some services that are available in our community that can help me and help my son to change the path that he's going on. My son he struggles with going to school and getting up in the morning, going to school, which a lot of teenagers do. And as a single mom, it's difficult sometimes to get your kids, your teenagers especially, to comply, especially when there's no strong male figure around to back you up and help you do that. So she offered a lot of good advice for me and as well to my son. And so my son currently does not have a phone, which I pay for. Yep, my phone now. He will never drive my Jeep again. Okay, maybe one day, but for now, he has no privileges for driving. That driver's license he has is now useless. He can rip it up and throw it in the garbage. He ain't using it. And I'm not speaking to him currently. Yeah, I'm letting him know that this is crossing a line and he's going to feel the effects of that. You need to do this as a parent. He knows I love him, but for him to feel how disappointed I am in him, it's going to have a huge impact on if he ever does this again. He's really going to think about, what he did and how that could have turned out. He could have killed somebody. He could have ruined my Jeep, which is not cheap. He wouldn't have been covered with insurance. I will be talking to him about this once I'm speaking to him again, but I'm going to be giving him the silent treatment for a while so he can really feel what he did. So I just wanted to share that with you. That's kind of my take on how I can hold my son accountable and teach him a lesson from this. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for today. I really appreciate you sitting through this. And until next time, I really, really would like everyone to stay well and keep kicking ass, ladies.